The last thing my sister Serena asked me for before I died was money. I was lying in a hospital bed, exhausted, drowning in debt, and barely able to keep my eyes open. Yet Serena stood beside me, wearing a designer coat I had bought her, and said, "Can you transfer me $1,200 before tonight?" I stared at her. "Serena, I'm in the hospital." "I know, but my landlord needs the deposit today." That was Serena. Her rent, car payments, vacations, shopping, and endless emergencies had been my responsibility for years. After our mother died, I promised myself I would always take care of my little sister. I just never realized she would eventually destroy me for it. "I don't have the money," I whispered. Her expression immediately changed. "You always make everything about money, Maya." She walked out. 9 hours later, I died, but death showed me what life never had. Serena had been secretly involved with my fiancé, Adrian. Worse, the two of them had been using me for years. Some of the money Serena constantly begged me for had been secretly moved into accounts connected to Adrian. Adrian had also been stealing from the company where we worked, and I had unknowingly helped him do it by trusting him. Then everything went dark. When I opened my eyes again, I was screaming. But I wasn't in the hospital. I was in my bedroom. I grabbed my phone and froze when I saw the date. March 14th, 3 years before my death. Before Adrian proposed. Before I lost my savings. Before Serena and Adrian ruined me. My phone suddenly rang. Serena. I remembered this day. This was the morning Serena claimed she was being evicted and begged me for $25,000. In my first life, I sent it without asking questions. That money became the beginning of my downfall. I answered. "Maya!" Serena cried. "Thank God, I need your help." "What happened?" "My landlord is kicking me out. I need $25,000 by tomorrow." I almost laughed. Instead, I calmly asked, "Send me the eviction notice." Silence. "What?" "The paperwork. Send it to me." "Maya, why are you acting weird?" "I want proof." Her crying suddenly stopped. "You've never asked me for proof before?" "Exactly. That had been my problem. I'm not sending you anything until I see it." "Maya, I'm your sister." "And?" Another silence. Then she hung up. For the first time in years, I smiled. I immediately moved most of my savings into a new account and changed every password I had. Then another message appeared. Adrian. "Good morning, beautiful. Dinner tonight?" My stomach turned. At this point in my old life, Adrian and I had only been dating for 4 months. He didn't know that I knew exactly what he would become. So instead of blocking him, I replied, "Sure, I needed him close. If I wanted revenge, I needed evidence first." A few minutes later, Adrian called. After some small talk, he casually said, "By the way, I need temporary access to the company vendor system." My heart stopped. I remembered this. In my first life, I gave him access that same morning. Months later, money started disappearing. "You'll have to ask finance," I said. He paused. "But you can approve it." "I know." "So what's the problem?" "No problem. I'm just not approving it." His voice changed. "I thought you trusted me." I almost smiled. Serena used family. Adrian used trust. Both of them knew exactly how to manipulate me. "I'll see you tonight," I said before ending the call. Then something clicked in my memory. The night before Serena asked me for $25,000, both she and Adrian claimed they were busy. Years later, I had found a restaurant receipt in Adrian's car from that exact night. Bellamy House. I still remembered the parking account Adrian had once given me access to. I tried his old password. It worked. My hands shook as I searched the history. There it was. March 13th, Bellamy House, 2012. Adrian had been there for nearly 3 hours. There was even an old photograph attached to a parking damage report. I opened it. The picture showed Adrian's car. And reflected in the passenger window was a woman. Long, dark hair, white coat, and the gold handbag I had given Serena for her birthday. My blood went cold. They had been meeting secretly much earlier than I ever knew. My phone buzzed. "Serena." "Fine. Come over tonight. I'll show you the eviction paperwork." I stared at the message before saving copies of everything I had found. Then I replied, "Okay, I'll come." Serena answered almost immediately. "Thank you. I knew you wouldn't abandon me." I smiled. She still thought I was the same Maya, the sister who paid every bill, believed every lie, forgave everything, but that Maya had already died. And this time, Serena wasn't getting $25,000. She was getting something much worse, a sister who finally knew the truth. That evening, I arrived at Serena's apartment at exactly 7. Before knocking, I reminded myself of one thing. I wasn't there to confront her. Not yet. I needed to know how deep the betrayal went. Serena opened the door wearing expensive silk pajamas. "Maya!" She hugged me tightly. In my first life, I would have hugged her back. This time, I noticed everything. Her perfect nails, the new shoes beside the door, the shopping bags on the couch. For someone supposedly about to become homeless, Serena seemed strangely comfortable. "Where's the eviction notice?" I asked. Her smile faded. "Can you at least sit down first?" I followed her into the living room. She handed me several papers. At first glance, they looked official. Final eviction. Notice amount required, $24,850, conveniently close to the $25,000 she wanted. "When did you receive this?" "Yesterday." I studied the document. Then I noticed the address at the bottom. The property management office was supposedly located on Kingsley Street. I knew Kingsley Street. There was no property management office there. There was a printing shop. Interesting. "I'll pay them directly," I said. Serena froze. "What?" "I'll call the property manager tomorrow and transfer the money directly." "No!" Her response came too quickly. She immediately softened her voice. "I mean, that'll take too long. They told me the payment has to come through me." "Why?" "That's just their policy." I looked at her. She looked back. Neither of us spoke. Then Serena's phone lit up on the table. She quickly grabbed it, but not before I saw the name. A. Cole Adrian, my boyfriend, her secret lover. My stomach twisted, but I kept my expression calm. "Who's texting you?" "Nobody." "You grabbed your phone pretty quickly for nobody." She laughed nervously. "It's just a friend." I nodded. In my first life, I would have demanded answers. This time, I stood. "I'll think about the money." Serena jumped up. "Maya, I need it tonight." "I thought you had until tomorrow." Her face changed, only for a second. But I caught it. "Maya, please." She grabbed my hand. "You're the only person I have." Once, those words could empty my bank account. Now, they meant nothing. "I said I'll think about it." I left. The moment I reached my car, I photographed the eviction notice. Then I called the number printed at the bottom. Disconnected. Fake. I almost laughed, but before I could leave, someone knocked on my window. I jumped. A man stood beside my car. I recognized him. Daniel Lennox, my business partner. In my first life, Adrian convinced me Daniel was jealous of our relationship and secretly trying to push me out of the company. Eventually, I stopped trusting Daniel. That had been another mistake. I lowered the window. "What are you doing here?" Daniel glanced toward Serena's building. "I could ask you the same thing." He looked uncomfortable. Then he said something that made my heart pound. "Maya, I think Adrian is stealing from us." I stared at him. "What?" "I've been checking some vendor activity. Nothing major yet, but there are strange authorization attempts." This had never happened in my first life. Or maybe it had. Maybe Daniel had tried warning me, and I refused to listen. "Do you have proof?" "Not enough." "Then don't confront him." Daniel frowned. That wasn't the reaction I expected. "What reaction did you expect?" "You defending him." I looked away. Apparently everyone knew how blindly I trusted Adrian. "Things change." Daniel studied me. Then he handed me a small folder. "Look at the vendor names." I opened it. Most were unfamiliar, except one. SC Holdings, SC Serena Cole. No, Serena's surname was Carter. Then I remembered something from my first life. After my death, Serena had changed her surname. She married Adrian, Serena Cole. My stomach dropped. Maybe SC Holdings wasn't created after my death. Maybe it already existed. "When was this company registered?" I asked. 2 months ago. 2 months. Adrian and Serena had been planning everything long before the $25,000 transfer. I looked at Daniel. I need you to do something for me. What? Pretend we never had this conversation. His eyebrows rose. And Adrian? Give him nothing outside his current permissions. Daniel stared at me for a moment, then he smiled slightly. Now I'm definitely curious. You'll understand soon. The following morning, I received 23 missed calls from Serena. I ignored everyone. Then she appeared at my office. She stormed through the door without knocking. You embarrassed me. I calmly closed my laptop. How? My landlord called me this morning. The landlord whose phone number doesn't work? Her face went pale. I placed the eviction notice on my desk. I checked it. Serena stared at it. The address is fake. Maya, and the phone number is disconnected. She immediately started crying. I almost admired how quickly she could produce tears. I lied because I knew you'd judge me. About what? She covered her face. I owe people money. What people? Friends. How much? $25,000. Exactly the same amount. Convenient. Then ask them for a payment plan. Her head snapped up. You're seriously not helping me? No. One word. Serena stared at me as though I had slapped her. You have almost $70,000 saved. My blood went cold. I had never told her my exact savings balance. How do you know that? She froze. I guessed. You guessed $67,000? I saw it once. When? I don't remember. Another lie. But this one frightened me. Because if Serena knew my banking information, my money might not be as protected as I thought. She stepped closer. You promised Mom you'd take care of me. That hurt. She knew it would. For a second, I almost saw the little 17-year-old girl crying at our mother's funeral. Then I remembered my own funeral, and Serena, kissing Adrian afterward. I promised Mom I'd look after you, I said quietly. I never promised to finance you forever. Her face hardened. You've changed. You have no idea. She grabbed her handbag. At the door, she turned around. You're going to regret treating me like this. Then she left. I sat there staring at the doorway. Serena wasn't simply angry. She was scared. The $25,000 wasn't for rent. Someone needed that money. And I intended to find out who. My phone buzzed. A message from Adrian. We need to talk. Serena called me. I stared at it. There it was. The mistake. Serena had just exposed something she didn't realize mattered. Why would my boyfriend be involved in an argument between me and my sister? I typed back. Why is Serena calling you about her money problems? The typing bubble appeared, stopped, appeared again, then disappeared. 5 minutes passed, no answer. I smiled. For the first time, they were the ones trying to keep their story straight. But my satisfaction didn't last long. Daniel suddenly entered my office and shut the door. His expression was serious. We have a problem. What happened? Someone tried accessing the vendor system last night. Adrian? Daniel shook his head. The login was yours. My smile disappeared. That's impossible. I know. He placed a printed security report in front of me. My username, my credentials, an attempted transfer authorization. And beside it was an amount that made everything click. $24,850. The exact amount on Serena's fake eviction notice. I stared at the number. Serena wasn't begging me for $25,000 because she wanted to spend it. She and Adrian needed it for something bigger. And when I refused to give it willingly, someone tried to take it using my name. Daniel looked at me. Maya, what exactly have you gotten yourself into? I slowly closed the folder. I don't know yet. That was the truth, but one thing was becoming painfully clear. Stopping Serena's allowance hadn't stopped their plan. It had only forced them to change it. And now they knew I was standing in their way. I stared at the security report. Someone had used my login to authorize $24,850. The exact amount Serena had asked me for. Can you trace where the money was going? I asked Daniel. We're working on it. Don't tell Adrian. Daniel studied me. You think he's involved? I think we need proof before we think anything. That was the lesson my first life taught me. Knowing the future wasn't enough. I still needed evidence. That afternoon, Adrian walked into my office carrying coffee. My favorite, just like he always did, when he wanted something. Peace offering? For what? He smiled and placed it on my desk. Apparently, Serena thinks you're angry with everyone. I didn't touch the coffee. How often do you talk to my sister? His smile weakened. Sometimes. How often? Maya, what's going on? I leaned back. Nothing, I'm curious. She asks me for advice occasionally. About money. He hesitated. There it was, a tiny pause. She mentioned she's struggling. And you didn't tell me? I didn't think it was my business. I almost laughed. He was good. Even knowing the truth, I could see why I'd believed him the first time. Adrian reached for my hand. I pulled it away. His expression changed. Maya, have I done something? For one dangerous second, anger nearly took over. I wanted to tell him I had watched him kiss my sister after my funeral. Instead, I smiled. I'm just stressed. His face softened. Then let me help. I knew exactly what his help had cost me before. I'll be fine. 2 days later, Serena changed tactics. Instead of begging me for money, she posted pictures online. A luxury restaurant, champagne, a new handbag. Then came the caption. Sometimes strangers support you more than family ever will. I laughed when I saw it. Then our aunt called. Maya, what's happening with Serena? Nothing traveled through my family faster than Serena's tears. She asked me for $25,000. She said she's about to be homeless. She isn't. I explained the fake eviction notice. My aunt went quiet. She wouldn't fake something like that. She did. Maya, she's your little sister. There it was again. Family. The weapon Serena had trained everyone to use against me. I love Serena, I said, but I'm done paying for her lifestyle. You're being harsh. Then you're welcome to give her $25,000. Silence. Exactly. Everyone believed I should rescue Serena as long as it wasn't their money. By Monday, things became worse. Daniel called me into the conference room. We traced the attempted payment. He turned his laptop toward me. The receiving account belonged to SC Holdings. My stomach tightened. Who owns it? That's the strange part. He pulled up the registration. SC Holdings had been created using an address I recognized immediately. Serena's apartment. But Serena wasn't listed as the owner. Adrian wasn't either. The director was someone named Marcus Vale. Who is Marcus Vale? Daniel shook his head. No idea. I did. Or at least, I remembered the name. Marcus had appeared at my funeral. He stood near the back. I had assumed he was one of Adrian's business contacts. After my death, I had seen Adrian arguing with him outside my house. At the time, their words hadn't made sense. Now, one sentence returned to me. You promised she'd never find out about me. I stood quickly. Maya? I know that name. From where? I couldn't exactly say from after my death. Adrian mentioned him once. It was a lie. And I hated how easily it came out, but Daniel didn't need to know everything yet. That evening, I made my first major mistake. I searched Marcus online using my company laptop. Within an hour, Adrian texted me. Why are you looking into Marcus Vale? My blood ran cold. I stared at the message. How did he know? Then I remembered. Adrian still had administrative access to some internal activity logs. I had just shown him exactly where I was looking. Stupid. I had been so focused on changing the future that I forgot Adrian wasn't stupid either. I didn't respond. Seconds later, he called. I ignored it, then Serena called. Ignored. Then Adrian again. Finally, a message appeared. We need to talk tonight. No games. I locked my office and went straight to Daniel. I messed up. What happened? I showed him the message. Daniel's expression hardened. He's monitoring you. I know. Then we remove his access tonight. No. Daniel stared at me. Maya? If we cut him off completely, he'll know we're onto him. He already knows something. Not everything. I had to let Adrian believe he still had room to move, because frightened people made mistakes, and I needed him to make one. That night, I went to dinner with Adrian. He was already waiting. "You've been avoiding me," he said. "I've been busy." "With Marcus Vale?" I kept my face blank. "Who?" He smiled. "Wrong answer." "You searched him." "So? Why?" I shrugged. "His company appeared in our system." Adrian leaned forward. "You need to stop digging into things you don't understand." The sweetness disappeared from his voice. For the first time, I saw the man from my first life. Not my loving boyfriend, the man who had helped ruin me. "Is that a threat?" His smile returned immediately. "Of course not." Then he reached across the table. "Maya, I love you." I nearly flinched. He hadn't told me that yet in this timeline. In my first life, the first time Adrian said he loved me had been months later. I suddenly understood. He was accelerating the relationship because he felt me pulling away. "I love you," he repeated. I forced a smile, but I didn't say it back. And he noticed. When I got home, someone was waiting outside my building. A man. Tall, dark coat. "Are you Maya Carter?" My hand tightened around my keys. "Who's asking?" "Marcus Vale." Every instinct told me to run. Instead, I stayed still. He looked exhausted, rather than dangerous. "I think you're investigating me?" I said nothing. Marcus glanced around. "You shouldn't be investigating me." "Why?" "Because I'm not the person stealing from you." My heart pounded. "Then who is?" He gave a bitter laugh. "You already know." "Adrian?" Marcus stepped closer. "Adrian is involved." "Involved with what?" Marcus hesitated. Then he said something I wasn't expecting. "Your sister didn't start this." I frowned. What does that mean? "Serena isn't the mastermind." "Then who is?" Marcus looked directly at me. "Someone inside your company has been paying Adrian for almost 2 years." 2 years? That was before Adrian and I even started dating. My entire understanding of the past shifted. "Who?" Marcus reached into his coat and handed me a flash drive. "Everything I have is there." "Why give this to me?" "Because Adrian owes me money." So much for an unexpected hero. Marcus wasn't helping me because he was good. He was helping because Adrian had betrayed him too. I took the drive. Marcus started walking away. "Wait." He stopped. "Why did Serena need $25,000? Marcus turned around. His expression became serious. "That wasn't spending money." "Then what was it?" "Adrian needed it to cover a missing payment before your company's quarterly audit." My stomach dropped. "And Serena?" "She was supposed to get it from you. So the fake eviction was Adrian's idea." Marcus started walking again. Then he stopped one final time. "Oh, and Maya?" "What?" "Don't trust Daniel just because he warned you first." My blood turned cold. Marcus disappeared down the street. I stood there, holding the flash drive. Daniel had been the only person I trusted since waking up, the unexpected ally who seemed to be helping me. But suddenly, I remembered something from my first life. The company was called Lennox Digital. Daniel's company. Daniel had access to everything. And when Adrian began stealing money, Daniel had somehow never caught him. Not until now. I looked down at the flash drive. Maybe Serena and Adrian weren't the only people who had betrayed me. And for the first time since being reborn, I realized something terrifying. I remembered how my first life ended, but I still didn't know the whole story. I didn't plug Marcus's flash drive into my computer. I had already made one careless mistake. I wasn't making another. The next morning, I took it to an independent cybersecurity specialist named Elias Grant. Elias and I had worked together years ago, before Adrian joined the company. In my first life, we lost contact after Adrian convinced me Elias couldn't be trusted. Now I understood why. "I need you to open this safely," I told him. Elias raised an eyebrow. "Should I ask what's on it?" "Probably not." He smiled. "Still getting yourself into trouble, Maya?" "Apparently." 2 hours later, he called me over. "You need to see this." The drive contained emails, invoices, payment records, and screenshots. Adrian was definitely stealing. But Marcus had been telling the truth. Adrian wasn't working alone. Several payments had been approved by someone using Daniel's executive credentials. My heart sank. Daniel? Maybe, Elias said, or someone with access to his account. Then I noticed something. Every suspicious approval happened late at night, usually on Wednesdays. I remembered Daniel complaining that he played basketball every Wednesday evening and left his company laptop locked in his office. Someone knew his routine. Someone inside the company. Can you copy everything? Already did. When I returned to work, Serena was waiting outside. Her eyes were red. We need to talk. I don't have money for you. This isn't about money. For once, she sounded genuinely frightened. We went downstairs to a quiet cafe. Serena leaned toward me. Adrian told me you're investigating him. I stayed silent. He's not who you think he is. I almost laughed. You're telling me that now? Her face changed. Maya, Adrian and I have been seeing each other. Even though I already knew, hearing her admit it still hurt. How long? 6 months. 6 months? Adrian had been sleeping with my sister almost our entire relationship. Why? She started crying. At first, he told me he was going to leave you. I stared at her. And the money? Her eyes dropped. He said if I helped him, we'd have enough to start over. You helped him steal from me? I didn't know everything. But you knew enough. She reached for my hand. I pulled away. Maya, I'm sorry. You're sorry because his plan is falling apart. She couldn't answer. That told me everything. Then she whispered, Adrian isn't the one running it. My heart jumped. Who is? I don't know his name. Adrian calls him the chairman. I froze. Serena looked terrified. He said the chairman could destroy all of us. Before I could ask more, her phone buzzed. She looked at the screen and went pale. A message from Adrian. You shouldn't have gone to Maya. Serena's hands began shaking. How does he know I'm here? I looked through the cafe window. Across the street, a black car slowly pulled away. Adrian wasn't just fighting back anymore. He was watching us. I stood. Serena, go somewhere he doesn't know about. What are you going to do? I grabbed my bag. Find out who the chairman is. As I walked away, one thought wouldn't leave me. In my first life, I thought my sister ruined me because she wanted my lifestyle. Now, I knew Serena had betrayed me. But someone else had been using both of us, and this time, I was going to find them before they destroyed me again. I spent that night going through everything on Marcus's flash drive. Then I found the clue. Every Wednesday night, when Daniel's credentials were used, another employee entered the building with an executive access card. Victor Hale, our chief financial officer. My stomach dropped. Victor had worked at Lennox Digital since before I joined. Everyone trusted him, including Daniel, including me. I called Daniel immediately. Don't say anything to Victor, I told him. Why? I think he's the chairman. Silence. Then Daniel said, Maya, Victor is my uncle. I froze. Suddenly everything made sense. Daniel hadn't been protecting Victor. He had simply never imagined his own uncle could betray him. The next morning, Daniel and I quietly checked old security records. Victor had been entering the office every Wednesday after Daniel left. He used Daniel's unlocked laptop and executive credentials to approve payments. Adrian created the fake vendors. Marcus moved the money, and Serena helped Adrian get cash from me whenever they needed to cover missing funds. It had been happening for almost 2 years. We need the police, Daniel said. Not yet. Maya, we have evidence. We have pieces. Victor will blame Adrian. Adrian will blame Marcus. Serena will probably blame everyone. I needed something that connected them all. Then I remembered the photograph from Adrian's parking account, the picture from Bellamy House. There had been something else reflected in that window. I opened the image again and zoomed in. Behind Serena was another car, and beside it stood an older man. Victor. That dinner hadn't been a romantic meeting between Serena and Adrian. It had been a business meeting. All three of them had been there, and the restaurant had security cameras. That afternoon, I received a message from Adrian. Come to my apartment. We can fix this. I went. But Daniel knew where I was, and my phone was recording. Adrian opened the door, looking exhausted. You've made a huge mistake, he said. By refusing to give Serena money? By digging. I looked directly at him. Victor Hale. His face changed. That was all the confirmation I needed. You don't understand, Adrian whispered. Victor owns half the people around you. And you? He laughed bitterly. I thought I could make money and get out. By stealing from me? It wasn't supposed to go this far. And Serena? His silence answered me. She was useful, he finally said. My anger exploded. She loved you. No, Serena loved the life I promised her. Maybe that was true, but Adrian had used her weakness just as Serena had used mine. Then he stepped closer. We can still fix this, Maya. We. Victor doesn't know how much you know. Leave Daniel. Sell your shares. Come with me. I stared at him. Even now, he thought I could be manipulated. Do you love me? He hesitated. 1 second too long. I smiled sadly. That answer killed me once. He frowned. What? Nothing. I turned toward the door. Then Adrian grabbed my arm. You walk out now. Victor will destroy you. I pulled free. No, Adrian. I looked him directly in the eyes. This time, you're all going down together. When I stepped outside, Daniel was waiting in his car. Did you get it? He asked. I held up my phone. Every word. But before we could celebrate, Daniel's phone rang. His face went pale as he listened. What happened? I asked. He slowly lowered the phone. Victor called an emergency board meeting. For what? Daniel looked at me. To remove you from the company. My heart sank. Victor had realized we were closing in, and he had decided to strike first. The board meeting was tomorrow morning. If Victor succeeded, I would lose access to the company, the records, and everything I needed to expose him. In my first life, they destroyed me slowly. This time, they were coming for me all at once. But there was one thing Victor didn't know. I finally had the evidence that could destroy him too. The boardroom was silent when I walked in. Victor sat at the head of the table. Adrian was beside him. Daniel gave me a nervous look as I took my seat. Victor stood. We're here because Maya has recently demonstrated behavior that puts this company at risk. I almost smiled. In my first life, accusations like that would have terrified me. Not anymore. Victor continued. I recommend that Maya be temporarily removed from all financial and executive responsibilities. Adrian looked at me with fake concern. Maya, this doesn't have to become ugly. It already is. Victor frowned. What exactly does that mean? I placed a folder on the table. It means I know about SC Holdings. Adrian's face changed. Then I placed another document beside it. I know someone used Daniel's credentials every Wednesday night to approve fraudulent payments. Victor remained calm. Serious accusations require evidence. I agree. That was when the door opened. Elias walked in with 2 independent forensic accountants. Victor finally looked worried. We displayed the records, the fake vendors, the attempted $24,850 transfer. Security logs showing Victor entering the office after Daniel left. Messages connecting Adrian to Marcus. Then I showed them the photograph from Bellamy House. Serena, Adrian, and Victor. All together on the night before Serena asked me for $25,000. Victor stared at the screen. A photograph proves nothing. Maybe. I looked toward Elias. But the restaurant still had archived security footage. Victor's face went pale. The footage showed all 3 of them sitting together. And although there was no audio, Adrian had made one mistake. He had placed a folder on the table. The same SC Holdings logo was clearly visible on the front. Daniel immediately called for the meeting to be suspended. Victor tried to leave. He didn't get far. The company's lawyers and investigators were already waiting outside. Adrian was fired immediately. Victor was removed from his position while the financial investigation continued. The evidence eventually uncovered years of fraud. Marcus cooperated in exchange for consideration in his own case. And Serena? She came to my house 3 weeks later. She looked completely different. No designer clothes, no expensive handbag, no perfect makeup. Just Serena. Maya, I lost my apartment. I said nothing. Adrian won't answer me. Still nothing. Then she started crying. I know I hurt you. You betrayed me. I know. You slept with the man I loved. She looked down. And you helped him steal from me. I thought we were going to be together. I laughed softly. That makes it worse, Serena. She wiped her face. I don't have anywhere to go. There it was, the sentence that had controlled me my entire life. In my first life, I would have opened the door, given her a room, paid her debts, fixed everything. Instead, I handed her a piece of paper. She looked at it. What's this? A list of temporary housing services and employment agencies. Her expression changed. You're serious? Yes. You're my sister. I know. Then help me. I am helping you. She shook her head. No, you're punishing me. No, Serena. I spent years protecting you from consequences. That wasn't helping you. She stared at me. So that's it? I swallowed the lump in my throat. I still loved her. That was the hardest part. Being reborn hadn't erased my feelings. It had only taught me that loving someone didn't mean destroying myself to keep them comfortable. I hope you rebuild your life, I told her. But I'm not funding it anymore. Serena cried as she walked away, and this time, I didn't chase her. Months passed. Victor and Adrian faced serious legal consequences as the investigation uncovered more evidence. Daniel and I rebuilt the company, slowly, carefully, and somewhere along the way, something between us changed. One evening, after everyone had gone home, Daniel brought me coffee. You know, he said, you scared me for a while. I laughed. Why? You suddenly became suspicious of everyone. If you knew what I'd been through, you would understand. He smiled. Maybe someday you'll tell me. Maybe I would. Daniel never pushed. That was what I liked about him. Our relationship grew slowly. No manipulation, no grand promises, just trust earned one day at a time. And Serena eventually found a job. She moved into a small apartment and started paying her own bills. We didn't magically become close again. Some betrayals leave scars, but almost a year later, she sent me a message. I understand now why you said no. I'm sorry it took losing everything for me to grow up. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I replied, I hope you keep going. That was enough, because my second chance wasn't really about revenge. It wasn't about watching Adrian lose everything, or exposing Victor, or refusing Serena money. It was about finally understanding something I should have learned in my first life. I could love my family without sacrificing my future. I could help people without becoming responsible for them. I could say no without being cruel. And most importantly, I could choose myself without feeling guilty. In my first life, I died believing I had failed everyone. In my second life, I finally understood the truth. The person I had failed the most was me. And this time, I wasn't going to make that mistake again. Thank you so much for listening to my story. If you enjoyed it, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more dramatic stories like this one. And I have a question for you. If you were in my position, would you have forgiven Serena and given her another chance, or would you have walked away completely? Let me know what you would do in the comments.